Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this somatic yoga practice.
All right, let's begin in a heart opener today. We'll use our rectangular bolster and just maybe 1 or 2 blocks. You can have the head at a higher height. That would make more opening around the chest and shoulders at the front of the body, or something a little gentler at a lower height. And then just bring the edge of the bolster to the edge of the block. Turn our backs towards those props, scoot or wiggle our bottom close, and maybe use the hands and arms to guide us down. Now you can have a bend in the knees if this feels a little uncomfortable around the low back. Maybe after a few rounds of breath or a minute or two, you experiment with extending the legs. You can always change your mind. So just continuing to wiggle and adjust, maybe pushing into the feet with a bend in the knees to lift the bottom and then place it back down. The majority of the spine supported by the bolster beneath. And then just wiggling the shoulders down away from the ears. You might flip the palms towards the sky, but not forcing that, just if it's comfortable. And finally, just a little tuck of the chin towards the throat. Just continuing to make those adjustments to find more comfort in your body until you're ready to find a little more stillness. Maybe softening down through the eyes, taking a nice long, slow breath in. Extra little sip at the top or hold or both. And just letting it go, feeling your body grow even heavier. Maybe a longer pause at the end of the exhalation before the breath resumes, and just beginning to observe. Slowing your breath down. Continuing to follow that awareness on the breath. Just observing your body growing more relaxed. Wherever the mind is focused on in this moment, gently bring it to your chest, around your heart. Just imagine a smile spreading across the chest. Maybe taking this time to set intention for your practice today. Your I or I am statements with conviction around what you'd like to manifest more of in your life or on your mat or both. Just taking a few more rounds of breath here, relaxing any areas of tension. And only if you're ready, we'll just start by bringing little movements into the fingers and the toes. If you need more, then welcoming it in, maybe a gentle rock of the head if the neck feels supported and comfortable. Good. And then we're going to start to zip the legs in towards one another. So if available, the left leg's going to stay long, a little gentle flexion through the heel. We're going to take a bend into the right knee, planting the foot to the inside of the left thigh. Take a big full breath in. And as we exhale, just drop that right knee and hip open. Maybe wiggling the foot a little closer towards the inside of the left thigh. Good. You can support underneath that outer right hip or knee with a prop or article of clothing, whatever you've got close by. If it causes the left side of the body to lift away from the mat, we want to stay anchored down very gently, that flexion through the left heel. So imagine your tree pose from a standing position, grounded through all four corners of that left foot, a little softness to the knee. And then let's start to float the arms up towards the ceiling. So just over the chest, flip the palms towards the bottom edge of the mat, and then drop the elbows out to the sides. So maybe they start to really drop back down towards the earth on either side of the rib cage. And then flip the forearms and the palms towards the sky. Just see if the arms will rest here comfortably. And if not, you can change position of the arms. Maybe wiggle the shoulders down just ever so slightly. Maybe feeling a deeper opening around the front of the shoulders. Relaxing the jaw and the brow, maybe eyes closed. Just feeling that right hip externally open, growing heavy, creating more space in your body by just taking this pause, coming back to the breath. Good. On our next inhale, let's reach the arms up overhead now. Just give ourselves a little stretch, pull the navel towards the spine. Maybe the hands bind in some way, or maybe they stay separate. Just find length pointing through the left toes. Take a big breath in, maybe a yawn. And just let your breath soften. We'll let those arms come back down to the sides or place them on the body if that's your preference. And we'll draw the right knee back up. We're going to bring the left knee and leg to a bend to meet the right. Realign, readjust through the back body. And then bring the feet together to touch. We're going to pick up the right foot now. Pick up the entire right leg and cross the right thigh over the left. Now the arms can come out more to a T position, wiggling those shoulders down, making sure the head and neck feel supported. And we're just going to start to rock through the lower body here. If for any reason at all, doesn't matter, you want to remove those bolsters, props from underneath your body, you can, or you can stay as you are. So for example, if it's becoming too intense for the shoulders, the chest, or you feel like your body's not supported in this position with movement. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to rock the legs from side to side. Notice as you rock to one side, the body might kind of start to hang before fully releasing, and we're not fully releasing over. And then just the amount of muscular contraction needed through the core and the legs to bring them slowly back. So just a very slow rocking sensation. Where you feel space being created, where you feel any kind of tension. Checking in again to soften any muscles of the face, including the eyes and the jaw. Good. Now, the next time the legs start to fall to the right, we're going to let them fully release to wherever they'll land, maybe turning the head to the left. If it feels better to set up any additional props to support the legs, go right ahead. Maybe you can wiggle the shoulders a little further away from the ears. Just really growing relaxed through the legs. You might feel that pressure point through the right glute or maybe the outside of the hip in some way. Just trying to fully relax the body, still soft through the jaw and the eyes. Notice if the body's continuing to progressively relax. Good. Let's just stay for 3 more rounds of breath, fully relaxing in your body. Good. And after your next full exhalation, we'll begin to bring the head back to center. And then just contracting the muscles that are needed, required to slowly, slowly, slowly draw the legs back up. Good. We're going to readjust at center. Maybe heel toe the left foot a little more to the right. Change position of the arms if needed. We'll inhale here, and as we exhale now, we'll allow the legs to fall to the right. So same thing, bring your props with you if you want to support the legs here. If you can't fully relax, you can come off the props if they're just getting in the way now, or maybe it feels good, just a little bit of a different perspective. Maybe the head dropping over to the right. And same thing, notice what lifts away from the props, where your body makes contact, where you're feeling length and space, gentle sensations of stretch. Also aware if there's any resistance. Just surrendering over and over again every time we arrive in a little more stillness. Good, and we'll just take one more big round of breath in and out. And once that exhale is complete, very slow, bring the head back. Once the head is back, again, just really mindful of the muscles that need to contract in order to bring the legs back up. We'll uncross the right leg from the left. Again, adjust yourself, maybe just planting the feet and rocking the legs from side to side. And just noticing any differences between the right and left side here. We'll come on back to stillness. This time we'll extend the right leg down the mat, add a little flexion through the heel so the toes are drawing back towards the right hip. And we'll bring the inner edge of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Exhale to open up through that left knee now. So same thing, might be different from side to side. If you really feel the right sit bone lifting or the hip coming out of alignment, we'll bring a prop with us and place it underneath the left side. That slight engagement through the right leg with a little softness to the knee. Make those adjustments to create space between the ears and the shoulders and find that long neck and space around the throat as we relax once again through the eyes and the jaw. Maybe dropping the tongue from the roof of the mouth if it's resting there. Relax the tongue, the hollow of the throat. Relax any muscular contraction or physical tension that you don't need to be spending your energy on in this moment. Surrender to the breath. And just one more full round of breath in and out here. And we'll begin to turn the left knee up, planting the foot. We'll draw a bend into the right knee to meet the left. And this time we'll plant the right foot across the left thigh over the right. We'll begin once we're feeling ready, making adjustments along the way by just rocking the hips and legs from side to side. So really the knees just dropping from right to left. But you might notice the hips, the sit bones kind of peeling away as we gradually find a little more range of motion. And then getting to that point, like a pendulum, where there's just that slight hang, those muscles contracting once again to pull everything back in towards the midline. Just a slow, mindful flow or rock of the legs from side to side. Of course, noticing how that feels. And not to worry if you're not using props under the body or if you want to come off them at any time. And then the next time the legs fall to the left, we're going to let them just fully release. So if they won't without pulling your entire body to the left, then use a prop to set up. Maybe you needed one on the first side, don't need it on this side. Maybe it's the other way around. And then dropping the head over to the right, making adjustments to create more space in any areas of congestion. Closing back down through the eyes if it's available to draw our senses back inward, to pay attention from an inner perspective. And we'll take one more round of breath from the side. And we'll begin whatever turn last. So if the head's looking to the right or turn to the right, we'll slowly bring it back. Engaging just the muscles needed to bring the legs back up. Maybe adjusting, especially if we're on those props. It might start to feel like we're sliding down. And then we might wiggle the right foot a little closer to the left. Now we'll take a big breath in, and as we exhale, let the legs fall all the way over to the right. Turning the head to the left, maybe adjusting the shoulders. Maybe you want props here on this side to really fully surrender the lower body heavy to the right. Using props when they help support your body so you can find surrender. Just taking a few more rounds of breath on this side now. Good, and at the end of your next full exhalation, again, just moving very slow. We'll bring the head back to center. Same thing with the legs, just very slow. Notice the muscles needed to help bring those legs back up. And then uncrossing the left leg from the right. We'll adjust again, planting the feet and just moving any props out of the way. Rock the knees again from side to side. Just noticing how things are feeling now that we've brought a deeper external rotation into both hips. A nice twist through the spine, low back, and pelvis. Good. And then we'll plant the feet. We'll walk them over to one side, shift our weight onto that same hip, and roll on the opposite side in a fetal position, maybe just using those props if they're still there. The lower arm supporting the head. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here before we come on. And as you're ready, pressing the upper hand into the floor, and we'll make our way to an upright seated position. So just setting anything that's in your way out of the way. We're going to come into a seated position. How about Janu Sirsasana with the left leg extended and the right knee bent? Good. We're going to pull the fleshy parts back and away from the sitting bones, really grounding down. You can always prop something under your bottom. And then take those fingers and just tent them on either side of the hips, pulling your low belly in to help support the back body. Good, maybe slightly leaning back into the hands if that's more comfortable. We're going to start with movement through the right leg. So again, just that little flexion through the left heel. And we're going to turn the right knee up, send the leg away, sweep the leg out and around and back in. So it's like we're drawing circles with the heel of the right leg. So just finding your range of motion again. If you want to lean back a little more into the arms and hands, go ahead. Good, just a couple more times. And then we're going to reverse that direction. Once the legs are together, pulling the knee in, sending the leg out and back in. And just let that knee drop out once we do send the foot out, and then it'll turn back. Good, so just lubricating through the hip joints. Good, and just a couple more times on this side. Good, once the legs are together, just give them a little windshield, a little bounce through the knees, and we'll start on the other side. So a little bit of flexion through the right heel, bending the knee, turning it out, straightening it out, and zipping it back in. On the left side of the mat here. Turning it out when it feels good. Just keeping that breath rhythmic and full. One more time in this direction, and we'll pause when the feet come together, and then we'll start to reverse. Don't worry if it looks a little different. Just intuitively finding range of motion in the left hip now. Good, and one more circle. Good, give those legs a little windshield, a little bounce, and we'll come to cross-legged. Rooting down through our sitting bones, give that little wiggle through the upper body, the shoulders, lengthening up through the crown. Roll the shoulders down and back, soften through the eyes. You can bring the hands to the hip flexors or the hips if you like, or just rest the arms comfortably down. And just gently bring awareness to your hips, your pelvis, those psoas muscles, tendons in the hip area. Keeping that breath rhythmic and smooth, and just noticing any sensations of energy in your body. Where do you feel energized? Where do you feel tired? Where do you feel space? Where do you feel lack of space? Where can you soften a little more? Good. Now eyes can be open or closed, and you can close them once we're prepared for some breath work. So we're just going to hold the palms out front with a bend in the elbows. We'll be breathing in deeply, and with a forceful exhale, we're going to push through one palm forcefully out with breath. So it'll be like this. So when you're ready, let's take a nice, we don't have to do this together. Our breath is going to be different. Let's take a nice big breath in to prepare, and a big breath out. And then we'll take a nice full breath in. So make sure you don't shorten that breath. Nice full breath in. And when you're ready, we'll begin. relaxing the rest of the body, letting it move as a result of this intentional movement, pushing out what you don't need, what doesn't serve you, saying no. A few more, 2 more, 3. And when you feel ready, just pausing. Let's cross the thumbs, binding the thumbs, crossing the hands over the chest, palms kind of like wings, and just rest the palms and the fingers over the chest, slowing our breath down, closing the eyes, relaxing the jaw, the shoulders. And again, just observing the rhythm of your heart, the rhythm of your breath, and everything slowing down. Shoulders, relaxing the jaw, unhinging the brow, smooth. And then taking a little curl into the knuckles so the fingers are still making contact to the chest. You can keep those thumbs binded or not, and we're just going to alternate tapping. You can move the hands around a little in towards one another, back out towards the front of the shoulders, maybe drawing circles, just whatever kind of rhythm feels good. Again, staying close to the eyes, relax through the face if you can. That breath rhythmic and full. Staying centered and just a few rounds of breath to observe. Good, and then we'll relax those arms down to the sides, fluttering the eyes open. We're going to transition over onto the hands and knees just to make our way into a squat position. So planting through one foot and then through the other. So we're going to come into kind of a wide-legged forward fold with a nice deep bend in the knees and the toes turning outwards. So like we're going to move into squat pose. And we're just going to start by rocking to one side, lifting the opposite toes, let the head hang heavy. And even though we're making contact with the floor, or if we're not, maybe using a block or something there. So just start to find the feet at the right distance apart for you, maybe a little wider than the shoulders. And then we're going to come to stillness with those toes turned slightly outward. With the fingers tented beneath the shoulders, pull the belly in and draw the shoulders back. So make sure the shoulders aren't winging, the space between the shoulders is active. And we're going to take a big breath in here. As we exhale, we're going to drop through the hips. So dropping the bottom towards the mat. So we're going to inhale, drop the head, lift the hips. We're going to exhale, we're going to drop down. So it doesn't have to be a full drop. And if you want different movement, go ahead. Just be mindful in your movement. Try to smooth out any jaggedness of the movement. Maybe the eyes are gently open. Maybe we're kind of sinking back into the hips as we drop them down, lifting the toes, but keeping all four corners of the foot grounded. So as we straighten the legs, we straighten the arms, not hyperextending. We lengthen the spine, and then we drop, kind of sink slightly back. Just finding your own range of motion and movement with breath. Good, just a couple more. And then once we come down, we're going to stay down. If available, we're going to take that malasana or rock from side to side. I'm going to continue to rock. You can do what you like. Turning the toes up as we lean to the opposite side, lifting the heel. Good, and just a couple more rounds. Try to relax those shoulders. Good, and then we're going to come to pause, and let's just make our way onto the bottom, sending the legs out front. Pull ourselves in nice and tall, using the hands, bind it at the shins. Take a big breath in. And we'll use the exhale to fold over the legs. Just open up the back side of the body and maybe just rock from side to side. So the knees rock from side to side. We feel that massage through the bottom, opening the space between the shoulders and really dropping the head, not forcefully, but heavy, organically. Maybe the chin rolls to the left as we rock, to the left, and vice versa. Let's come on back to stillness. Soften the elbows, maybe gently clasp the hands together and just stay for a few rounds of breath. Good, and then we'll release the hands and just slowly, slowly, slowly rise up. Maybe cross the legs in the opposite position. Good. Good, finding yourself nice and tall once again, that little wiggle. Good, we're gonna take the base of the heels of the hands now, and we're gonna take the heels of the hands to the temples and just start to massage gently at the temples. Nice slow circles here. And then reversing. Good. Now slide the left palm down to cup at the outside of the left jaw, and then just gently guide the head towards the left. So we're kind of holding and supporting the head here. And then we're going to take the heel of the hand or even the thumb and massage. We're just going to massage the jaw or the hinge of the jaw. So just moving the hand around, drawing circles, the jaw unhinged. So we're not clenching as we're massaging, and reversing. Making sure you're not lifting the chin too high to the sky. Just let the chin drop into that hand, if it will. Good, and then we're gonna cut both sides of the jaw. Breathe in, gently look up. Breathe out, gently drop the chin. And again, inhale, lift up. And exhale, gently guiding it down. Good, we'll bring the head back to center. Gently tilt the right ear to the right shoulder. Releasing the left hand and whatever feels good here, massaging through the hinge of the jaw. Maybe moving it around, finding the sweet spots that feel the best to get into. Maybe experimenting with fingers versus heel of the hand versus thumb. And then we'll reverse. Good, and then we'll cup both sides of the face, bring the head back to center. Take a big breath in, looking up, lifting the chin, shoulders down. And this time we'll exhale round the spine, bring the forearms together and just drop the head as we lift the middle of the back towards the sky, moving into a forward fold, holding the head in the arms. If you can, drop the elbows down. Okay, otherwise maybe resting the elbows on the legs in some way. Close down through the eyes. Take a few more rounds of breath, just holding your beautiful face and head here. Good, and if the hands are still at the face, we're gonna release the arms down. Roll those sit bones back to the mat if they're peeling away and lengthen through your spine. Pull the low belly in, take a big breath in and use your exhale then to passively fold. Drop the head heavy, maybe rock the head from side to side. Maybe rock the whole upper body from side to side. Maybe the sit bones kind of lift. The right lifting as we roll to the left, and the left lifting as or lifting as we roll to the right. And then let's start to flow a little here. And feel free to flow organically or kind of follow along with me. We're going to start to keep flowing from side to side, but then bring the left hand over to the right, walk the right hand further to the right, continue to walk over to the right as we're still flowing from side to side. Once the right palm is beside the right hip but farther away, let that left arm come overhead, opening up through the chest, lifting the chest towards the sky, that left arm flowing back, reaching towards the left hip. Soften the right elbow as we come forward, bringing the left arm back towards the right. And really exaggerate this movement, feeling the right shoulder roll forward as the left shoulder rolls back, but being nice and soft through the joints. Don't worry about that left sit bone lifting away from the mat. Just notice that we're not compressing too much through the right side of the body. We're finding space with this movement in every corner of the body. Making sure you're not throwing the head back, just mindful movement. Noticing where space opens up through the left side of the body. And we're going to reverse that when it feels right. And you'll be closing the eyes if it's comfortable. Good. We're going to take one more big sweep in this direction on the side. And then we're going to let that left arm come all the way down so the hand meets the right. And we're just going to start to flow from side to side as we walk our hands slowly back to center. Adding more or less movement. Maybe once you get back to center, just drawing those figure eights with the shoulders and then reversing. And then coming back to that rock from side to side as we start to walk the hands slowly over to the left. And once that left arm is sent right out, we're going to open up, lift through the chest, elbows stay soft. Bring that arm all the way around and start to draw those big circles. Getting both shoulders involved, noticing again where you're feeling space, maybe all the way down to where the abdomen meets the hip or the pelvic bowl. Letting the head just kind of flow, making sure you're not just throwing the head or neck. Just noticing what happens through the right leg as we draw these big circles through the right arm and shoulder. And we'll do that one more time in this direction. And when it feels good, we'll start to reverse. And just a couple more times in this direction. Until we let that right arm come all the way over to meet the left. Feel that nice stretch as we pause here down through the right hip. And we'll slowly rock from side to side to come back to center. Once we're at center, just keep those elbows soft and draw those figure eights with the shoulders a few times in one direction and then the other. Good. And then 10 through the fingers, come back to stillness. Engage the core just to come to a neutral spine. Lift the chest and chin and exhale. Fold over passively. Let the head hang heavier. Add a little movement through the head and neck. Elbows are soft. Good. One more inhale and exhale. And then slowly walk the arms, hands back in towards the body. Releasing through the legs, maybe grab a sip of water. And we're going to meet on our back body. Just keeping your props close by. We're going to be using our strap here. And of course, anything else that you want to support your body through these final poses and Shavasana, just keeping them close. So bringing your strap with you, making sure your heels are towards the bottom edge of the mat, and we'll come on down. Once you're down, let's unravel the strap. Bring the hands about shoulder distance apart and just rest the strap around the hip flexors, psoas muscles, low abdomen. Good. Add a little flexion through the heels. So again, we're engaging through the legs, but there's softness to the knees. Pull the low belly gently in, not forcefully, just pull it in. Maybe feel the pelvic floor engage slightly. Now, when we're ready, we're going to inhale, float the arms all the way up overhead. You can separate the hands or bend the elbows. Let the backs of the arms rest to the mat, hover or just gently touch. Good. And then we're going to exhale to bring them back. So waiting for that exhale or maybe inhaling to prepare. So inhaling, floating the arms all the way up overhead. The knuckles are towards the back wall, and exhale, coming all the way down. Just getting into your own rhythm and range of motion. You can also bend the knees if this doesn't feel good, to straighten through the legs. Good. And the next time we reach those arms up overhead, we're going to stay. Good. Wiggle the shoulders down away from the ears again. Press the ribs towards the mat, the abdomen engaged, and just lengthen through the knuckles and the heels. Good. A little softness to the elbows and the knees. Let's point through the toes and flex through the heels. Point through the toes and flex through the heels. Good. Let's float the arms back to the sky as we inhale and lower the strap towards the abdomen as we exhale. Let the elbows just soften and we'll take a bend into the knees. Good. Just adjusting through the low back and anything else you need to adjust. Before we do anything else, let's just rock the knees once again from side to side. And then we'll come back to center. We're going to draw the right knee in and wrap the strap around the sole of the left foot, right foot. It doesn't really matter, sending that leg up towards the sky. So as we wrap the strap around the middle of the foot or the ball of the foot, we have automatically a gentle flexion through the heel. Now you can stay bent through the left knee, or you can lengthen out through that leg. So see what feels best for you. If we're lengthening out, we need to stay engaged to support, okay? So what we want to do is bring awareness to the pelvis, feeling that pelvis, the sacral area of the back body really grounded. And the arms really are supporting, the hands really supporting, but we want this movement to come from the ball and socket of the right hip joint, keeping the pelvis still, starting with our little circles. Little tiny circles. Breathing in for half the circle, breathing out for the other half, but not rocking from side to side onto the sacrum. So very slow, controlled movements. The pelvis is anchored, the hips are anchored, the sacrum is anchored. Okay, so you'll soon notice these don't have to be large circles to be controlled. They're probably very small. And when you're feeling ready, we're going to reverse. Good. And then we're going to pause. We're going to bring both ends of the strap into the left hand, lay the right arm long, take a big breath in. And as we exhale, allow the right leg to cross all the way over to the left, taking the gaze or chin over the right shoulder. So the hips may stack. We might want something underneath the right leg to support. There's a bend in both knees and really mindfully relaxing fully through the left leg here. Any kind of clenching through the left hip or thigh or knee, just let it soften. Softening back down through the eyes if they've popped open, relaxing through the jaw. Just finding that ebb and flow of breath and observing how your body moves and flows as a result of that breath. Let's take a fuller final round of breath in and out here, not rushing it, pressing it all the way out, slow and complete. And at the end of that, we'll begin to move. Bring the head back, just engaging the muscles needed to bring that right leg back. Let's bend the knee and just give that thigh a little squeeze in towards the chest, the belly. Good. Maybe little pulses. Keep the left hand at the right knee. Take the right hand into a fist and just massage into that hip, maybe all the way in towards the glutes. You might kind of pull the leg slightly across to the left again to get in there. Notice any tender spots. Good. And then we'll release and let that go. Bend into both knees, readjust, give a little wiggle, and prepare to move over to the other side. So just unraveling your strap, wrapping around the sole of the left foot and sending that leg up. Do it again. The right knee could be bent or extended, adding a little engagement, soft knees. Try to take that resistance away from the hands. So there's more strap there because we're not moving the leg with the arms or hands. We're just supporting if needed. With that little flexion through the left heel now, it'll take us a few rounds to really get the breath and movement coordinated, and probably to slow it down because we're not used to typically moving this slow. Being really mindful not to move the hips or the pelvis. Just allowing this movement to come right from that ball and socket joint. Maybe half the circle as we inhale, the other half as we exhale, and pulling back with less movement if you start to feel the body rocking. And then when it feels right, we'll reverse. Good. And then come back to stillness. Take both ends of the strap into the right hand. Left arm can lay out to the left in a T. Big breath in, and as we exhale, cross the left leg over to the right. Maybe drop the head over to the left, closing the eyes if it feels good. And really, relaxing through the right leg and hip. The knee, the whole right leg is soft. The low left side of the body is peeling away from the mat now. We should feel a nice sensation of space and stretch through the outer left hip and glute. One more full inhale and exhale here now. And then we'll start to bring the head back. We'll start to bring the left leg back. Let's bend the knee to release the strap, set it off to the side, and squeeze that thigh in. Maybe little pulses. Maybe it's just moving with breath, but keeping the breath slow so we're not breathing quickly as the movement may be if we're moving quickly. And then we'll keep the right hand at the left knee. Take the left hand down to that hip, maybe slightly cross the knee over to the right so we can get in there. Maybe a couple little punches, maybe fingers, maybe knuckles into the outer hip and over towards the glute. Maybe little waves through the knuckles and noticing again any tender spots, reversing any direction. And then when you're ready, bring everything back to center. We're going to hug both knees in, just rocking a little from side to side, massaging through the low back. Maybe a little more lubrication through the hip sockets. You can either just continue with movement until you're ready to extend out to Shavasana, or give yourself a squeeze, whether it's just exhaling thighs in or adding the nose to the knees, really curling everything up tight and contracting everything you can, still breathing, and then taking a final breath in, squeezing, and using your exhale to begin to come on down. Setting yourself up for your resting pose. Maybe it's using the bolster under the knees. Maybe it feels good to send everything out nice and long, taking up, more space on your mat. Making those final adjustments, the right distance between the legs, the right distance between the arms. Wiggling to create space between the ears and the shoulders, and that final adjustment to find length and space through all sides of the neck, including the throat. So let's take a nice big breath in, extra little sip or hold or both, and letting it go. Feeling the body grow a little heavier as we complete that full exhalation. And the breath just ebb and flow organically as we become the seer. Surrendering once again to the physical body, into the present moment. The gentle awareness, drawing our awareness deep within, to that quieter and calmer, peaceful place. So observing as some of those smaller parts and muscles continue to progressively let go. The tongue, the jaw, the brow, the eyes, temples, the ears, the throat, the entire head relaxed. Shoulders, the chest, the arms, the fingers, the heart, the lungs, the rib cage, the upper and lower abdomen, sides of the body. Sacrum, the pelvis, the hips, the legs, all the way down to the toes. Feeling the whole body together. Whole body. Aware of your entire body. Just taking a few more rounds of breath here now. And then if you're ready, and only if you're ready, taking a few more rounds of breath to begin to wiggle and awaken your physical body. Gradually, again, only if and when you're ready, finding an upright seated position. Rooting down, lengthening up through the crown, and maybe bringing the hands together at the heart. Little tuck of the chin, relax through the jaw. Take one more full breath in, soaking in the benefits of your practice, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Letting tension go on the exhale and acknowledging the light within me sees and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.